sure am. We are live because I got the sense that Bryan was playing a prank on us. And oh yeah, guys, I'll do the show. I got a story I want to do. I'll be 11:30 a.m. Oh yeah, no, I'll be there.
He's done the show at 11:30 before.
No, I think it's a funny prank to just see how long we'll sit here and wait for him to show up.
He's actually complaining of boomer problems at the moment.
Oh, is he having boomer problems?
Yeah, he says he's having boomer problems, but you know what? He'll be here.
He can't pass his BM efficiently. What kind of boomer problems is he having today?
The prudes aren't working.
Jim Jones, where the fuck is my free show? That's a good question.
Great question. It's coming.
Bryan's here. I'm going to bring him on screen. Hey, Bryan.
Technology.
Yeah, welcome. I'm just glad this
I've been booming all morning, boys.
I
don't understand it. It's like I pull up my email and my phone works just fine. But when I go to put it on my laptop, it takes fucking 5 minutes for this shit to load.
Well, that's what's funny because you were messaging with Vinny just now, and Vinny goes, "Yeah, Bryan says he's waiting for his email to load." I'm like, "That's the most boomer thing I've ever heard in my life."
Yeah.
But if your email to load, why does that take any time at all? What do you got, dial-up?
You know, after a while, you're just like, you stop trying to fight the boomer thing. You're like, I'm old. I said it a couple weeks ago to my friends. I was like, we're old, man. My one buddy was his wife was real excited about finding Woolite for darks at Kmart. And I was like, I knew these people growing up. We would have not been excited about this 20, 30 years ago, you know?
They're segregating Woolite now?
Yeah, I guess so. Kmart only.
I didn't even know Kmart existed.
Listen, I have to admit, I'm also old. I look at TikTok, but I don't actually post TikTok videos. So that's how you know I'm old.
Right. Yeah. It's I was not even sure I wanted to put TikTok on my phone. And then my kid is like, I want to do TikTok. So, you know, you got to monitor it and all this other shit.
That's how it happens.
You got to make sure she's not faking Tourette's.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, hopefully she's not watching Opie Radio on there. Her mind will be warped.
Yeah.
She starts yelling about doggy around the house. You got to take that app away from her.
I'm a big fan.
Cardiff.
I'm a big fan of the Cardiff crossovers with Opie.
Yeah, of course.
I could watch that all day long, and I don't know what's wrong with me.
I'm not going to lie. I could watch Tukey all day long.
Tukey's fantastic.
Tukey's amazing.
No, Tukey is the monster guy that Cardiff is with?
Yes.
Is that Tukey? Okay.
Yeah, okay. Tukey. If you haven't seen the actual intro to his show, it's quite elaborate and amazing.
Well, that's
slick.
That guy goes all out on all of his little projects. I shouldn't call them little projects. The Dabbler, you're great. El Horrible, you are magnifico.
He's the one who put together the documentary on DabbleCon.
There's a documentary on DabbleCon?
Well, it's more of a recap. I like to call it a documentary because people like when I say that word.
I really hope that there is a documentary on DabbleCon one day.
Yeah.
And it's not quite as, obviously not quite as horrific as the Firefest one.
Well, I think if it were featured in a doc, it would be more about like the beginning of someone's end of their career. Like it all started at DabbleCon.
The Carl Hamburger story.
Yeah, probably. I wasn't thinking me, but yeah, maybe me.
We all were. We all were. So you guys want to start a Scum stream?
I do want to start a Scum stream. Let's go.
I need a Scum stream.
Hola, creepos. Thank you for joining us for this fantastic free preview of the Scum stream. This is your one per month, people.
That's right. We're putting this one out for free. Normally, this is just for our Patreon, Supercast, and Backed.by supporters every Wednesday morning at 11:30. And it is Super Chat Wednesday. I wanted to make that announcement. I didn't realize it. I just pulled up my calendar this morning. It was taking a while to load my calendar. But then I was able to pull it up, and I noticed that it was Super Chat Wednesday. And I celebrate Super Chat Wednesday.
I heard rumors about you. I've heard a lot of rumors about you.
Dude, these rumors are out of control. I am reading all of the Super Chats that come in. Before we start the show, I want to say something to you, Vinny Paulino.
Oh, great.
I'm listening to The Dick Show.
Okay.
There's a new episode this week.
Okay.
And to begin the show, a lot of Ewok talk.
Oh.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding him about Wicket with your text messages back and forth. Because he's like, hey, Sean, I didn't tell you about meeting Carl's parents in Philadelphia. And then he's talking about Wicket, and he's talking about me and what my parents said and how it's a consequence now on the wheel.
I want everyone to know how happy I am. I played the long game on this because I hate Carl's cunt of a mom. And I've hated that bitch since the Nashville show.
I've come around because you were trying to convince me. I'm like, no, she's great, but I've come around on this now.
It took just about a year. It took just about a year for me to turn Carl on his own mother.
Oh, Jesus.
But you know, Dick and I were laughing really, really hard at you in text messages. Yeah, that's true.
Yay, super chats.
There's going to be a great new consequence because of this. I don't know why you're so upset.
Hey, look at who's super chatting us. It's Jerry. Oh, I probably still have that on my board if I was smart enough to remember to do that.
Oh, sure.
Jerry asked $5. Just wanted to say hi to Chrissy. If that's the Jerry, I think it is.
This isn't her OnlyFans. What are you doing?
Good point. And B. Kells, $12.96 with $5. Vinny Paulino makes the world go around F. Shuley. Wow. I think what you meant to say is Vinny Paulino was round.
As round as the world. Yes,
Yes.
that's me. Thank you, B. Kells.
Oh, this is amazing. Now, Chrissy's saying back, hi, Jerry. And this is great. We just have people say hi to each other for $5 at a time.
Why not? It's a bonus episode. So, gentlemen, you all got the stories today. For those of you who don't know what we do on a Scum stream, it's basically a rundown of the scummiest scum that we couldn't fit onto the regular episode this week. And I have some stories. And Bryan sent me one at the end of last week that was just so ridiculous. I invited him here today to come tell us all about it. But we'll save that one for last. Let's start down in Pulaski County, Arkansas, gentlemen.
Okay.
Question before I read the story. Either of you ever have a shitty neighbor?
Yes.
Yes.
My next door neighbor right over here
Okay.
has a dog that hangs out in the backyard all day long and just barks and barks and barks.
Uh-huh.
It's annoying.
That's really shitty.
What about you, Bryan?
My neighbor, I don't have any neighbors now. I bought a house where there's enough space on purpose in between, I've got a nice perimeter. Could build a moat.
All right, AMC money.
No, I spent that on drugs. That's all gone. But I did have a neighbor when I was younger who was very meticulous about his driveway. He had like those little pebble stones, and he would rake it real late at night. And we were kids, so like anything you did, if you walked by his perfectly manicured hedges, like he was out there looking at you, giving you shit. And his wife had a stroke after a while. They were older people, and this is like I'm not proud of this, but she came out, she started yelling at me, and so I mimicked her in a way that would not be, complimentary, I guess.
To a
in a way that
victim.
in a way that if it happened today, I would be shit on all over the internet. I would be the worst person ever, that kind of
You'd
shit.
be Steven Crowder if that came out.
Well, I'm sure
Steven
this guy was
Crowder, yeah.
pissed. His
I'm
dead leg stroke victim wife just dragging her leg behind her, ruining the pea gravel he just raked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
I'd be
got
pissed
this.
too.
I was probably 18 at the time, so like I'm not fat and soft like I am now. I'm all fucking jacked up, and like he's not gonna fuck with me. So he's like, I guess I just better go back inside. They did take me to court, though. They took me to court.
Really?
Yeah, they
That's
tried
a
to
shitty neighbor right there, Vinny. You
Oh,
able to top that?
It's the worst.
What would they take you to court for? Trademark infringement? He does too
harass-
good of an imitation of my wife.
He doesn't have a stroke. No, it was harassment. They tried to say I was harassing them, but like me going like, oh, is not. That doesn't qualify as harassment.
How am I not in court for harassment every day? It's shocking to me.
Coming down the pipe.
I'm like,
Carl.
harassment's illegal. Blah, 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 blah. That's not good.
Well, I'm going to say down in Arkansas.
Dim, doesn't it? Don't I look dim, boys?
You
Let
do,
me,
yeah. It's
Let
darker
me.
than- maybe if you
let me-
load your email, you could
let's
light
see. Hold on a second. Watch this.
The light is
Oh,
still
buddy.
loaded.
I want to
There we
read
go.
a
That's-
super chat from Bryan Johnson. Whoa, this is like Inception. $5, Brian, coming on our show and paying us. Who cares if the boomer was late? What eye candy? Dude, you got to log into a different account when you do that. You fucked up with your sock account again.
I'm a boomer.
This Fry guy is a huge cock.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's get to the story.
Let's settle
so
down.
Settle down.
No, let's keep it up. A terrible story. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. Apart from living in Arkansas, these people live next door to a neighbor, and she claims that her neighbors have been defecating in buckets and dumping it in the yard, and that the poop washes into her yard when it rains. They have been, quote, taking feces in buckets, dumping it at the back of their property, and then across the street at another person's property. They've been dumping it on their property too. They've been doing this now for about 3 years.
All right, well, pretend you're on vacation in India. Have some fun with it. So my question to you, though, Benny, is that the way that this story's out there is they went to the TV station.
Oh, yeah.
The local TV station. It says it's happening for 3 years. What took you so long? How long do you have to deal with your neighbor's shit in your yard before you finally go, you know what, we should probably say something to someone about this?
And this is exactly what I was thinking, too. I was going, how are you not calling the police? This is like, how are you not calling, fucking FEMA? Call anybody you got to call. Whatever you need to do to get this taken care of. But apparently they were calling the city, and the city was like, nope, you're like right outside of the county lines. You're going to have to go through the county. The county's like, I don't know. And everybody's just dragging their heels because no one wants to do their job in government.
Well, just because they have indoor plumbing doesn't mean they have to shame their neighbors. It's like that Family Guy skit where they show Edison. His house is all lit up. He's blaring music. No one else has electricity yet. Like, hey, you asshole. These guys are like, oh, yeah, we can flush our toilet. They're like, oh, well, good for you. So fancy over there.
At one point, these neighbors built a hollowed out porta potty that they were just going to that wasn't attached to anything. And they would just shit and piss in it.
Just dig a hole or something. A little effort goes a long way with that.
And it would just drop out the back of it, I assume, and just fucking sit there. Now,
It's weird
anyone
because,
around
like,
them,
the feces seems to be the biggest problem, but I would love to see what this house looks like, what these people are like. Like they would be like that family, that backwards West Virginia family, the incest family. I can't remember.
Oh,
their
the
name.
Whites.
The Whites, yes. Yeah.
Right. I was thinking of that movie, The Burbs, with Tom Hanks.
I hope this is right in the middle of the suburbs. I really do. I hope this is what the suburbs in Arkansas are like.
It does say it's just outside of North Little Rock, right?
Yeah.
It's not too far.
Yeah.
Because how do you reason with someone who's like,
Bill
I
Clinton's
find it
childhood home.
perfectly acceptable to dump shit on the ground and let it run into other people's people's yards. Like how do you start to reason with somebody like that?
It's not like it smells good for them. Like
No.
they're not going out on the porch and hanging out all day either. So
This has got to be. How do you even allow people to live in a place without indoor plumbing?
yeah,
Like
it's-
usually a city or a state would just shut this out and throw you the fuck out.
Well, have you ever seen that show Hoarders? I love Hoarders.
Oh.
And they always end up messing up their indoor plumbing, and the toilet becomes like a table for them to eat dinner on. And
While they shit in a bucket.
And they shit in bags. There was this one, I don't know if you saw it. There's this one plastic bags all the way up the stairs, all around the house, full of human shit. Like she's not even throwing them out.
I'll get to taking those out. I'll get to it.
I like it there. It's part of the feng shui.
Wow. Every time I see that show, there's always the shot of the toilet.
Yeah.
Every episode of Hoarders, because none of these people keep a toilet working properly.
Correct.
Are they
And
dumping stuff down it, or do they just shit so much? What do you think is actually causing it?
I don't know, but shit does not evaporate. It stays in there forever. It's a problem.
Which is funny because, like, when I was a kid and I had a dog, if the dog shits somewhere, you don't find it till a lot longer. It does kind of evaporate. Human shit stays musty and lumpy and pretty stinky. All the people in this neighborhood, by the way, have sold their houses.
Of course they have.
They're all leaving, and the ones that are still there are still suffering.
I'd hate to be the realtor taking people around to the open house and stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, no, they just put down some fertilizer. It's just it's seasonal. Doesn't normally smell like this.
Oh
job.
man. After this, the TV station contacted the state plumbing inspector, but we were told they were not in the office on Fridays. That's in the article, by the way. She said she's also talked to the neighbors and claimed we're responsible for all of this. And she said she's tried to help them and they don't take the situation seriously.
Yeah, obviously. All right, well, those are worse neighbors than mine. You beat me.
I don't know. That dog sounds pretty bad.
It actually is.
But is there anything more? I mean, shit. Yeah, that's pretty bad. But the dog barking. Because when I had a house in another town, I had a neighbor. Like I called the police, and I'm not like a big cop calling kind of guy, but it's like,
sounds like you are.
This thing's been going on for 2 hours, like barking for 2 hours. I understand. I would never do it. I'm not Vinnie Paulino. I'd never shoot a dog, but I know you like. I know you like animal abuse.
Brian.
In fact, I saw a story here. I was like, Vinny cannot do an episode without something to do with animal abuse. I was like, he gets his jollies off of it. There's something weird about this guy.
Yeah, you can't read those stories without smirking.
Well, you guys can accuse me guilty, but I do it for the audience, not for my own enjoyment. So, it's all the sickos that we broadcast to.
So, Brian, to your point, so this dog, he's got this thing where it goes, it's just over and over again. And what happens is, I'm a podcaster for a living. I like to sleep in. And so these days, the windows are open, get a nice breeze, a nice cool spring air coming in.
Yeah.
And get the Jenny Jingles stink out a little bit. And
old lady smell.
I love getting woken up at 7 a.m. to this fucking dog being out in the back. Oh my God. It's like worse than any alarm clock I've ever had in my life.
You know what? I'm starting to think my wife is psychotic because we're having the same problem. She grew up in the country in fucking Alabama.
Right.
And birds chirping in the morning pisses her right the fuck off.
Oh, I don't like that either.
I like birds. Birds are the problem.
That's a tougher one to combat. At least with a dog, you can approach the owner and be like, yo, jerk off.
Yeah.
What's the deal? Birds. They got a mind of their own.
That's true.
What a
put out some poison seed, baby.
Or you could just do what our next creep did on April 26th. Well, inside her residence in Florida, this woman shot and killed her parent with a Glock handgun and then fought with her husband.
Her parrot.
Yes.
I thought it always sounded like he said parent.
Oh.
It'd be a very different story.
Well, I am a
Listen, I get it. Parrots get mouthy. They're like wives. They get real mouthy sometimes.
And they pick up on the energy of the room.
That's true.
They really are a problem. I don't know why anyone would want one of those in their house.
The only reason my wife is still alive is because we once had a parrot.
Once.
He took the brunt of it.
What do you think the parrot was saying that really set her off? Maybe like, "Awk, my wife saw him hide in the closet. Awk! Put down the booze. Awk!
Awk! Bangs her out." She got these straight ass.
Yeah, she looks terrible.
Suzanne Mullally, she's 62 years old. She was intoxicated when she killed her African gray parrot with a .380 caliber handgun inside their house. She shares with her husband,
Seems
Steven.
like overkill, but yeah.
I certainly agree. After Mullally murdered the bird, she and her ex-spouse exited the house and began arguing and pushing each other, which notes that a witness watching the couple fighting said that Steven was also drunk and with water from a spray bottle was trying to spray her. Like, calm down. He was like spraying her with the bottle.
I feel like I'm looking into my future right now. Like, this sounds like a fun lifestyle these two are having.
They both got charged with domestic battery and a misdemeanor. They were booked in the county jail. Now, in late February, cops also responded to that property because a firearm was discharged in the backyard during a verbal altercation. At that time, Mullally was handcuffed and taken into custody. After a brief struggle with the cops, she was only charged with resisting arrest. So this woman's pretty loose with this gun.
How can you only be charged with resisting arrest? You have to be being arrested for something to be able to resist arrest. That doesn't even make sense.
Well, she's out free and clear. I bet you the bird wished they charged her with something else.
Right?
The bird said, guilty.
I thought you weren't. I thought you weren't allowed to fire a gun within like town limits or something.
Well, it's Florida, Brian.
Oh, that's true.
Hey,
that's true.
Johnson, don't tread on her. Don't tread on her. Let her do her thing.
And they said she was intoxicated, which should just be understood since it's happening in Florida.
Yeah, 62-year-old woman in Florida who's wine drunk. Shocker. Shocker. Either way, they're being charged with domestic battery. Like I said, they're booked in the county jail, and they were in custody and will be called back for a hearing. But I don't know what this bird did, but to shoot the pet and then get into the argument with the husband.
Oh, yeah. No, the bird definitely egged her on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 2 minutes for instigating to this parrot. It's a hockey joke. So did you see that no contact with animals is also one of the things?
I did see that.
Now, this doesn't make sense to me. I think that every shelter who's about to euthanize a dog or a cat, give them to this lady. At least they have a fighting chance.
Yeah.
And they don't have to do all that awfulness at the shelter.
So
Yeah.
that'll be really fun for grieving people. Have to put their pets down. You bring them over there, like, well, hold on a second. We're just gonna make Shadow here comfortable. You just put him right there.
Yeah.
Susan.
Yeah.
Susan, would you?
You got your Glock?
Susan. Steve said he hates your bangs, Susan.
Or she could do it in mass, like if it's one of those kill shelters, just like line up 3-4 dogs, see how many dogs a bullet will go through.
It's better than 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah.
4 dogs with 1 bullet.
4 dogs, 1 bullet.
I hate to say that's the kind of fiscal genius when it comes down to the government gets people promoted.
Well, look at
we all used 1 bullet on 4 dogs.
Guys,
you're in charge now, sir. You're a genius.
Alec Baldwin is a genius. There's a reason why that guy knows how to make a movie on a budget. 2 people with 1 bullet. You don't know about Alec Baldwin?
Oh, I know.
Okay, you're looking at me like
I was just
Alec
wondering
Baldwin.
where you were going to go with that.
I mean, it's a similar thing.
I
You're
was
2 people.
I was triggered when you were just starting to say that Alec Baldwin was a good filmmaker. I was just starting to what?
I liked Beetlejuice.
That's true, but he didn't make it.
He didn't make it.
Evansville, Indiana.
Yes.
All right, this is a fun one. A registered sex offender exposed himself in front of a grandmother and 3 teenagers Friday night. According to police officers, they were called to the area of Main Street in response to an offender later identified as Harold Bales, exposing himself to a grandmother and 3 teenagers she was in charge of. So could you imagine this lady's just trying to be cool grandma, taking her 15, 16, and 17-year-old grandkids over to the arcade? And that's where they were. They were like an open-air arcade in an alley. And this guy just walks up fucking cranking one off.
Yes. And what I'm annoyed with about this story is that they tell you the ages of the teenagers, like you just said.
Sure.
But not their bra size. We have no idea.
Which is the least they can do if they aren't going to show the pictures.
Right.
We at least need cup
Just
sizes.
a description. I just need a description. What celebrity do they most closely resemble? Which TikToker do they most Sweet Anita, or is it more Balin? Or
That way you can judge, like, would I expose myself in front of them? Are they hot enough?
See? Brian gets it. The news media is letting us down.
The defense attorney there is Exhibit A, her yearbook picture.
Yeah.
Now,
well, at least this guy has his looks, though. So he's got that going.
No, he does not. This guy looks like if Tucker Dixon lived in the woods.
He doesn't?
Yeah. He looks like if Tucker Dixon lived in the woods exclusively.
Oh, I can see it now. Oh, they're going to war with Tucker Dixon. Another falling out.
He stole my idea. No, I love you, Tucker. But this guy does kind of look like you. It was one of the vibes I got. Interesting part, when the cops went to find Mr. Bales, they said, "Hey, we need to talk to you." And he goes, "Oh, I know why. It's because I just pissed over there around the corner in the street, right?"
Yeah, he was taking a leak.
And they were like, "No, sir, that is not why." And he goes, "Do you have any ID?" And he couldn't find his ID. He ends up giving them his birthday. They found out he's a sex offender. He denied that he pleasured himself. He insisted that he was only urinating in front of these people.
Well, you know the rule. If you shake it more than twice, it could have been one of those deals.
That is an actual law.
You know, when you get older, you know, you don't want to have it dribbling in your pants.
Wouldn't this be fucked if, like, this guy's telling the truth and all he did was like pee, and he looks up and he saw that they saw him peeing and these people just made up a story?
Yeah, but why was he only wearing a trench coat? I mean, shouldn't he have had some other clothing on?
That's true.
I think that's not a good thing to pee in. By the way, the only difference between this guy and Louis C.K. is that this guy's stand-up is not nearly as polished.
This guy, like, I know you're not supposed to profile people, but if you take a look at this guy, you're like, he did it.
I know.
He wasn't urinating. We all know it.
Before
But that's not a bad defense. Like, because can they prove? I mean, I guess you have 4 witnesses.
Can you prove I enjoyed myself?
He was not urinating. But they're all females. How many males have they seen urinate? Maybe that's how we do it.
That's a good point. What do they know?
Yeah, they don't know
grandma,
anything.
she don't know either.
That's a good point.
I have forgotten. Maybe this was traumatizing for these kids, but they have a hell of a story for the rest of their lives.
I don't think that. I'm always shocked when people find this stuff traumatizing as opposed to what it is, hilarious. Like you and I, if we were standing at an arcade and we looked over, there's a homeless guy jerking off, we were going to cry laughing.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to ask him questions about it.
What you up to over there?
From a distance.
Right now. Yeah. Can I cup the balls for you?
Yeah. I'd flip them a fucking quarter off the machine.
You're up next.
But these people see this, and I guess maybe it's just the life experience level is different, where these people just go, ah!
Well, they're also not going to get
penis!
They're also not going to get cast in a movie afterwards, so there's really nothing in it for them, I guess.
Okay, fair enough. All right, guys, let's talk about this Christian missionary down there in wherever the fuck this was.
This is in Iowa.
Yeah. Christian missionary was convicted of sexually abusing a child after prosecutors told jurors the victim contracted gonorrhea.
Wait, add insult to injury.
Yeah. Way to spread the clap instead of the gospel, dickhead.
And ironically, missionary was also his favorite position with these kids.
Jordan D. Andrew Webb, he's 30 years old, was found guilty by a Webster County jury on 1 count each of sexual abuse of the person under the age of 12 in the 2nd degree, incest, and child endangerment. Webb was arrested in late April 2022 after health concerns were raised regarding a juvenile earlier that same month. Those concerns prompted the child's emergency removal from custody of the guardian. An ensuing investigation resulted in a search warrant being executed, and they went to this apartment, I guess, or a house that's owned by Harvest Baptist Church, and it's used as a Bible college.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely campus. Now, during the trial, evidence was presented that Webb was diagnosed with gonorrhea just days before the child was also diagnosed with gonorrhea.
So this is what I want to know. How do we know that the kid didn't give the missionary gonorrhea? Because this kid seems pretty easy.
He could be the victim.
Do we know their past?
You know, that is the only good defense here.
That's what I would have gone with.
You really should have been a lawyer, sir. That is the only defense you have. She gave me gonorrhea.
Sluts.
Oh, they don't say the gender, Carl. Don't assume.
Yeah, I know.
Name and gender not being
I actually
reported.
assumed it was a boy, but
Yeah,
I would
really.
not be picked for this jury because it would be like, ladies and gentlemen, the defendant is a Christian missionary. Guilty.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I don't need any more time, Your Honor.
This might be one of those juries where I would like say anything I have to say to get on the jury because I know it's going to be easy. Like, you know how everybody's always trying to get out? I would look like, oh, I want to hear all
This
of
would be
this.
a fun one.
And I just want to look at this guy with shame. I'm going to shake my head at him a lot. I'm just going to be a very, very
I'm going to do this thing with my fingers.
naughty. Oh, God.
That's an embarrassing day.
Now, they basically proved this, and he was found guilty. It was a 3-day trial. It was enough to convict the defendant in the case. And when he was arrested, he was subject to a $500,000 cash bond, which I don't know why I wrote that fact down. Fuck me.
Yeah.
I wrote the wrong part. Moving on.
Let's go to
He's
India.
32 years in prison.
Well, it was
right.
lowered to 75,000, they said, which is how he got out.
Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Maybe that's why you
Carl
put that tidbit in there.
You know what I need right now?
What do you need?
There's a certain jingle I need.
Oh, you're right. We do need that.
Oh, you better hit it. We have a baby thrower. Santapur, Assam, India. And a shocking incident. A
The
mother
second I see
killed
that
her-
location, it's no longer shocking.
I know. I just assume this is what most mothers do when they give birth to a daughter.
Oh, the
Yeah.
baby pond?
The baby pond.
It's overflowing. We gotta get a new one.
Well, I hate to bury the lead, but they threw this baby. This lady just threw her baby in a pond.
Yeah,
So-
because it was born a girl.
Yes.
I guess in India they don't realize that gender is something that happens much later in life.
we really got to get them
Could
on the same
fluctuate
page
too.
as
You
us.
never know.
Right, exactly. I mean, give it 12 years.
You know, there's going to be a lot of egg on the face of people in China when they realize that.
Good point.
There's going to be a lot of egg on their face.
Yeah, because right now they're getting away with it. Squeaky clean. No one has a problem with what their 2-child policy or 1-child policy, but yeah.
I have a feeling there would be a lot of girls taking the boy route in China.
No.
If this was like a thing, if they were just like, hey, if you
yeah,
you
yeah,
could do it
in order to survive. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll be a boy. That's fine.
Because the problem though, is that like because there's 90% to 10% guy girl ratio in certain age groups, like no one's getting laid. No one. So I don't know that I'd want to be a boy in China. And I like being the gender that I am, but in China, I don't know. It seems like a bummer.
Oh,
Plus, you got to deal with all those stereotypes, you know. Like, even if, My friend Ming is
wrong.
my friend Ming is constantly bolstering that, saying that it's true. That stereotype.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what he tells me.
We just did a recent episode, the Sissy Whisperer, where
their little clitties.
The Japanese kid was just like, yeah, I got 3.7 inches when I'm hard. I'm like, oof, yikes. That's rough.
The sad thing is that, the 90% of these boys aren't getting laid, but what's even sadder is the 10% of these women are being satisfied.
100% of the women are not getting satisfied.
All right, fair enough. Now, according to the police, the mother threw her baby into the pond on April 24th. The whole incident came to light on Wednesday after the baby's body was just spotted floating in the pond. Someone got a pool skimmer and fucking got it out.
I can imagine like the local villagers like, hey, does that pond usually have a floating baby in it? Yeah, I can't
Which
remember.
pond?
Yeah,
which one?
The one right there with the floating baby. I think it was there yesterday, right?
That's a buoy. Let's move on.
I recognize that. Moving on.
Now, they called the police once they recovered the baby. During the investigation, they interrogated.
I just had a thought. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Please,
but wouldn't it be funny if she put like concrete shoes on the baby to make sure that it would sink to the bottom?
Concrete booties.
Yeah, it's like a mafia.
It would point towards the Hindu mafia. Yeah, for sure.
What was this baby up to? I guess it picked the wrong side.
That's a baby. That's a rat.
I don't know why that's so funny to me.
I don't know. This baby looks a little too young to talk here. I don't know.
Yeah, well, she was fingering the guy, so.
Holy shit.
Jesus.
Now, she says that her first child was born a girl, and then she gave birth to a baby girl, and that made her very upset. And after failing to give birth to a baby boy, she was just disappointed. She just went through the baby in the pond.
So she wanted to have a boy.
Yeah.
And she had her second girl. But it says in that article that she went through extreme steps to have a baby boy. What the fuck does that mean? What are extreme steps to have a boy?
I feel like there's a lot of old wives' tales about like what you have to do to like determine the gender of your child for people who care about that.
I was thinking it's like a witch doctor or something. Or like voodoo or something that they're trying to do. Because I'm like, what are extreme steps?
Mamam Shiba. Mamam Shiba.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what they're doing. Shit. But you might be right. I just I'm sorry she was disappointed in this whole situation had to end this way.
Not as sorry as the baby.
Well, baby's not anything anymore. So
no, done.
Guys, I don't know why we don't cover more of these stories on the show. Pimps.
Yeah.
Goddamn pimps. They are. This guy that we were about to talk about in Seattle is something else.
Should we just have a pimp off? Should that just be the new show? Because pimps are amazing.
This dude has the most fucking pimp name as well. Like he had to have changed this because if his parents named him this, the same way any kid named Alfred is destined to be a butler, Winston Cornell Burt.
Yes. Winston is a pretty good pimp.
Also known as Dice Capone.
I love it.
It turns out he's a terrible pimp.
Well,
the reason we're reading about him is because he's not good at pimping.
That's a good point. But I will say this. He is determined. He's been federally charged with sex trafficking through force, fraud, and coercion, transportation of an adult female for prostitution through coercion and enticement, and 2 counts of unlawful possession of a firearms. And you know how he got caught? Bitch.
One of them hoes got away.
Burt, 31, is accused of taking a 20-year-old victim from her home in California to traffic her for sex in Seattle. Prior to his arrest on November 6th, court documents said Burt would kick, punch, and pistol whip the victim if she expressed a desire to stop working for him.
I do that to my kid if she won't go get me a soda. I feel like this is not that.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, honestly,
pistol whipping here and there.
I really feel like you should understand who your employees are. You have a 20-year-old girl. She's not going to be into her job.
Good point.
It's not like going to be something she really enjoys doing. So one night, the woman tried to flee out the front door of an Airbnb where they were at. So this guy's just renting Airbnbs and pimping girls out of those. So
nice. I like that. His house probably isn't that nice, but you get a nice Airbnb and
you're smiling a little different than normal when you heard that.
I'm just picturing the Airbnb we had in Philly. It was really nice. There's lots of bedrooms in there.
The Airbnb we had in Philly would be perfect for this. There was barbed wire in the back.
Yeah, right.
There was that big broken shards of glass fence.
16-foot wall across the street. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and isn't that where Hannah took her pictures, that Airbnb?
No, Hannah.
Oh, wasn't that one? I
in
thought she was in an
no.
Airbnb taking those pictures. I was going to say, then sexy stuff is afoot and nobody's aware of it.
Not in that Airbnb we were in. I
No.
don't think so.
No, there's a lot of Vito and Vinny stuff going on. Nothing sexy.
Yeah, we were just rubbing bellies in the living room while Vito blasted Japanese game shows on TV.
They were feeding each other ho-hos. It's really, really hot.
Those are the only hoes around. The ho-hos.
All right, let's get back to the ho-hos.
Yeah.
So Bert and the other women were living in this Airbnb. Bert scooped her up and pushed her to the ground, according to the court documents. Fearing for her life, she rushed upstairs with Bert after her. Then she leaped from the third-story window to get away from him.
That's not good.
Nope. And then she ran into a busy intersection naked. When an Uber driver saw the woman in trouble, he picked her up. The ride-sharing driver was now being chased by Bert, who got into his car.
This is awesome.
And he is chasing the Uber and shooting at it.
He's firing a firearm at an Uber that you would think would be like, what am I doing? Why did I pick up this person?
Nope. Because in Seattle, this driver was also armed and pulled out a gun and started firing back.
This needs to be a movie. This Uber driver is a fucking legend. World's greatest Uber driver. I'm producing this film.
Now,
Brian's gonna have a cameo in it.
There's surveillance video from a nearby.
I want to be Dice Capone.
Yeah, we're gonna stop by the comic book store for a second.
Dude, we're both gonna be in the movie, but we're just gonna be like two of the Johns standing in front of the place holding tickets, waiting to get in. When she runs by naked, she just comes out the window, and you and I look at each other like, and she just runs away.
That's funny.
Oh, right. God.
I dream of picking up a distressed naked woman. That would be great, man.
Right?
Like I pull over, everyone's like, oh, what a hero. And then when she gets in, I'm like, you have no idea how much worse your situation just got.
Oh, I think she realizes it when she looks to the left.
You're going to be running back to Dice.
That's when you say, why are you crying? I got to drive home alone.
Yeah.
That old gag.
Oh, man.
So this is what I love about pimps, Vinny.
Please.
Is that they're so proud of themselves. They self-identify as pimps. Here's something that you'll never hear. The self-identifying baby rapist appeared in court today. Like nobody else just comes out and just goes, yeah, I rape babies. But pimps are just like, yeah, I'm a pimp. Fuck yeah, I am.
The guy just brings a chalice to court with him.
Yeah. Like he's not even trying to get away with it. He's like, yeah, this is what I do.
Yeah, like I really don't know anybody who's that into their jobs that they're getting like an engraved in gold on shit. Like, oh man. So the indictment, he's being charged. I'm sorry. The level of violence in this case is stunning. Brutal beatings of young women, threats with firearms, emotional and physical control of every aspect of the victim's lives, said U.S. Attorney Nick Brown. He commends the city of Seattle for dealing with this, but there's a lot of it happening. This is happening like in every fucking town right now. There's somewhere there's an Airbnb filled with hookers that are being held there.
Should we go now or we got time, right? We can head over there afterwards. I gotta say, this is a hell of a resume builder for Mr. Burt. I mean, he is keeping those hoes in line to the point where if you want to get away from him, you got to jump out the third-story window. Not a lot of people are going to do that.
Could you imagine?
And hope you jump in a car where you hope that the person whose car you jump in has a gun too. And this, like, she couldn't have gotten any luckier in terms of her escape.
How is she even
up 3 stories
running?
and fucking survives? Jumps into somebody's car. Like, I gotta say, like, in all reality, if some woman approached my car and she's naked, I'd be like, oh no, no, I'm not getting in this car. No way. Like, because next thing you know, I'm being accused of something.
Do you have a towel to put down?
Yeah.
I want to get my seat icky.
Yeah. I'd call 911 for it, but I might even wait with her, but she's not getting in my car.
You wouldn't wait with her.
You know that if this guy,
I would drive away.
At this
I'd get my TikTok going.
Exactly right.
You film it.
I just like Carl's idea of this guy like having his pimp resume. Yeah. And, like his next job interview, they're like, so what would you say your weaknesses in your pimping game are? It's like, I just care too much. I just care too much. Fucking chasing a woman down the street. Just let one fucking get away. You'll get another one, dude. That's what you do.
Right.
Well, she might rat him out though. He can't have that.
Yeah, but it's an Airbnb. You can just
he could move. You're right.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's not under the name Winston.
I doubt it. Although He is proud of himself, so maybe it is.
We rented this place to a Mr. Dice Capone for the weekend.
He had 2 guns, $24,000 in cash, and $100,000 in jewels. I don't have that. Like, well, why am I not pimping? I have hardly any jewels at all.
It's a good point.
You know what? Airbnb, you have to tell them how many adults will be staying in the house. 12. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, come on in. No problem.
Yes, they are adults. Thank you for asking. Yes. All right. You guys want to move over to Russia for a minute?
Yes.
All right. This is not a great story. I'm starting to think people in Russia might be a little crazy, Carl.
Okay. So it's like Florida. Okay. Got it.
A student doctor and her husband have been accused of dismembering their 8-month-old daughter. Why would you do such a thing? Well, I'll tell you.
Okay.
The child died when Father Yakov Mebaroda, 33, aimed a kick at his wife, Anastasia, during an alleged domestic dispute, but struck the baby girl instead.
Whoa, this baby's got some mad bodyguard skills. And it's impressive. Taking one for mom.
It's not, though. You know the mother just like picked the baby up and put it in front of this is both of their faults.
Now you're making it sound bad. Like it's a bad thing. I was trying to find the silver lining.
And this kick is what killed the baby. He was trying to kick his wife so hard.
Yeah.
That it murdered his child.
Impressive.
I mean, she shouldn't have made borscht again.
The worst part is he's not going to qualify for the World Cup team when he's in prison. That's too bad.
No. The trainee children's doctor and her husband then decided the best thing to do would be just to dismember the child using knives and an electric meat grinder. They put the remains of the girl into 13 plastic bags, which seems like a few too many plastic bags for a baby. I mean, how... Come on. What are they? We're talking like little Ziploc sandwich bags? What are we talking about here? That you need 13 of them.
I've said it before, but it goes back to that thing.
Wasteful.
What's worse? 13 babies in one plastic bag or one baby in 13 plastic bags? I'll let you decide.
An age-old question.
An age-old question.
What do you need 13 plastic bags of baby for, though? You're going to give it out as souvenirs to people? Is it going to be like a party favor? They put the remains of the girl into the plastic bags. And then after asserting that the child did not show any signs of life, the couple took steps to hide the body, is how they described it in the courts. In order to create the appearance of not being involved in the crime, the 23-year-old mother of the dead girl reported to law enforcement authorities that her daughter had been abducted by unknown perpetrators. Yes. But when the state investigators arrived at the flat, they were detained. The parents' suspicion of murder. Horrified officers removed the electric meat grinder, knives, with traces of blood and 13 bags of human remains. You probably should have gotten rid of all that stuff.
I would imagine, yeah.
I mean, you have the mindset, the presence of mind, like, oh shit, we fucked up. Let's hide that we fucked up.
Yeah.
You got to keep hiding.
They were halfway there. It's like the Bon Jovi song. I mean, come on, guys.
It's like the Bon Jovi
Just
song.
Follow through with that.
Oh, no. Neighbors said that there were constant screams coming from the flat after the couple moved in 6 months ago. They had been visited previously by social services.
Oh, they're a problem.
On the day of the murder, he was more violent than usual. Then the noise of the children's cries stopped abruptly, said the neighbors.
Dude, you know there was at least one neighbor who just went, fucking finally. Because he knows what happened, but he's like, as long as they just stop screaming over there.
You know, honestly, like if Carl found out that his neighbors chopped that dog up into 13 pieces, he wouldn't be talking to the press. He would just be thankful.
Oh, right, exactly. Want to come over for dinner, Carl? No, but I appreciate what you did.
No, you guys both have wives. If you were in this situation, does your wife bust out the meat grinder and the knives and help you out and say that the kid was abducted? Is she a ride or die bitch? Or is she like, you're in trouble?
Well, she knows what's good for her.
Yeah.
I mean, I just
want to end up like a parrot?
You want to try me?
I would say my wife's ride or die. How about you, Bryan?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I don't know if she would go so far as to help me dispose of my child or my niece, you know?
You know, that's one of those things you don't know until it happens, right? You just gotta wait for the day.
That's when you find out what they're made of. You know?
Exactly, right.
That's when you know, did I make a mistake marrying this chick?
That's when heroes are made. When you have to dispose of a baby.
If this were me, I would be sitting there and watching her dial 911, thinking, I think I made a terrible mistake.
Yeah, that's probably more likely.
Oh, she would rat me out in a second.
Oh, your wife would probably call her family before she called the police. You will not believe what my husband did.
Yes.
I have to say,
True.
I think my kid actually is more ride or die than my wife. I was down in Florida one time, and my wife went into a convenience store. So I was sitting outside with a kid. She was probably 15 at the time.
Yeah.
And she was talking about my previous girlfriend who had basically raised her. And we broke up when Sage was probably like around 10 or so.
Okay.
And so we were talking, like Sage brought up the old aunt. That's what she called her. And I said, yeah, it was like, we never really talked about that because she sort of just disappeared. She moved to Oregon and then we never heard from her again type thing. And I said, do you ever wonder what happened to her? And she goes, yeah, you shoot her. I was like, what? She goes, you shot her. She thought that I shot and killed my girlfriend, got rid of her. And that's why this is why I got the new girlfriend.
That's hilarious. And she's fine with that. She's like, no, you got to do what you got to do, Dad.
Did not care at all. I was like, I didn't shoot her. She goes, yes, you did. Now it's important to mention for those people out there who don't know my kid, she has Down syndrome. Yeah. So it's not like she's 15 being like whatever, like she's a total fucking stone cold psychopath. You know, I think she just doesn't understand, but she's like, yeah, like she knows I have guns and shit. So
yeah, no, it
makes sense to her.
She's totally accepting of that. She's like, nah, I get it.
Whatever.
Did she say she didn't go like I watched you or anything like that? She didn't.
No, she didn't say that. She wasn't like, oh, I'm an eyewitness, because then she probably thinks I'd have to get rid of her.
Yeah,
well, good point. Yeah, even if you see that shit, keep your mouth shut.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, there's a pond right down the street, girl. It's not just for babies.
It's like a walk down to the park, honey. The old baby throwing pond. And let's talk this out. So these two, this is my favorite thing. I love stories like this, and then they always put in the facts that really don't matter. Carl, here's one.
Oh, yeah.
Russia has high rates of domestic murder by international standards, and there are signs this is worsened during the war against Ukraine unleashed by Vladimir Putin.
Yes, they
literally
make sure to
put that in the story.
Blaming the war in Ukraine. It's like, okay, sure. Homicides in Chicago are up since we invaded Afghanistan. Is it George W. Bush's fault? The homicides in Chicago? Why not? What a stupid fucking thing to put in that article.
Everybody knows that's Barack Obama's fault.
Agreed.
Okay. God damn it, Carl. Dumbass. So those are the stories I prepared. Brian, are you ready to present the story I cannot wait for Carl to hear?
I am ready. Carl, this happened in Hanaran, Louisiana. Way down south in the bayous.
Yeah.
A woman is accused of the gruesome murder of a 6-year-old girl whose body was crammed into a plastic bucket and left on her biological mother's front lawn.
Surprise!
I believe this belongs to you.
Yeah,
Avon College.
Pretty much. The horrific discovery was made and a frantic search for 43-year-old Hannah Landon, which sounds very American, but this is an Asian lady, and she also uses the name Banak Lim and Banak Landon. And she was a girlfriend of the young girl's father. And looking at this woman's picture, I'm like, Asians have no excuse to look this plain and dowdy and unattractive. I have seen makeup tutorials on YouTube where the ugliest Asian women are like, holy shit, she's a 10 now.
Yes.
So this woman really has no right to look as plain and unattractive as
well,
she
you
does.
have to give her this, though, Brian. That's a pretty good prank. I bet Ashton Kutcher never thought of that.
That is not something I would expect on my front lawn.
Right. That's what I
would
mean.
be like, you know, because like I live like across the street are woods and shit. So like sometimes people will dump off garbage and crap, and that's what I would expect it to be. I'd be like, oh, some jerk off left a fucking white bucket. Hey, where's the kid anyway? Who cares? Let me go check this bucket.
Yeah. And then you're like, is there a camera on me? What the hell? Am I getting punked right now? What's going on?
Ashton Kutcher.
Got me again.
When we were texting about this, though, the thought of finding your own dead child in a bucket on your front lawn, on your front steps.
Everyone can see you smiling. We're on video.
Yeah, well, it's a podcast. It's an audio podcast.
Christ. When we started the show, there was no video component. So we could act like we were fighting through tears.
This whole thing is terrible.
The girl's death was by homicide, and the body exhibited multiple injuries that would be detailed at a later date. I tried to look it up. They didn't say anything about it. The father reported his girlfriend and youngest daughter missing around 7:30 a.m. after waking up to find them unexpectedly absent from their house. They believe that this Hannah Landon woman brought the girl back to her place at an apartment or something, killed her, put her in the bucket, and then put the bucket in a wagon and dragged it down to I guess the biological mom lived nearby.
There is a
So-
video of this woman
Yeah.
walking through neighborhoods
There's
with
like
a
a
little
ring.
red wagon with a bucket in it.
Yeah. It's like a ring cam or something. And it's funny too, because in the article, they say something about like a car just drove by and she didn't even stop or anything. I'm like, well, yeah, you can't act suspicious when you have a dead baby.
Yeah, it's just like it's a lady pulling a bucket down the road, and
Yeah,
I just thought
like,
she had a
that's not
shitty
something that
rickshaw.
I'd be like,
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like that. I mean, it's cool they got the video of it, but it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
yeah, like if there was a pimp in another wagon shooting at her, then I would be like, this is something to talk about.
This movie's getting better by the moment.
But
They don't know who opened it. They don't know who opened the bucket. They wouldn't say. They're a small town. They're a safe town. This is a senseless type incident that happened. We're keeping the family in our prayers. If I had a nickel for every time I watch a true crime show where there was like, this was the kind of place where you didn't have to lock your doors. And I'm like, if your door has a lock on it, lock it. Like there's no reason, like, unless it's for your own, like, I live in a safe neighborhood. Fuck it, man.
Right.
Like,
Right.
there is no safe neighborhood.
no
There
such
is
thing.
No.
The police officer was like, "Oh yeah, this is a real safe town. Not for children. Not for children who want to live. Not a good time to talk about how safe you are. Give it a day.
No.
Let it breathe."
Have we found out any type of motive on this yet?
She was I did read a little bit more into it, and it appears that she was constantly at war with the girlfriend was constantly at war with the biological mom and her sister, and she had restraining orders against them because I guess they had been like they fought at some kind of sporting event and like scratched each other's faces. So like this was an ongoing thing between them. And I guess she's like, you scratch my face, I kill your daughter. You know?
Yeah, this woman's not behaving like an Asian woman. I don't want to
No.
say what she's behaving like, but I mean, if we're pulling out extensions and ripping nails off. What the fuck?
And
Yeah.
an Asian woman murdered a young girl. Shocking.
Mhm.
So we just established.
That's twice that's happened just in this episode alone.
Oh,
And the
man.
girl, like you look at the girl, she's adorable, but I do think she might be Chad Zumach's illegitimate kid because she has no upper lip at all. So
Oh.
You're assuming that Chad got laid once.
I think it might have been the case. Yeah. No, she's a cute little kid. It's like you look at that and you're just like, what the fuck, man? Like I've
That's
been
why
pretty mad at girlfriends in the past, but
No, that's why we have to laugh about it, Brian. Because if we
Ugh.
weren't laughing, we'd be crying, right, Vinny?
yes, so
Speak
true.
for yourself.
I know.
I'm trying over here, people.
But
Yeah,
he hasn't
this is all
stopped smiling
horrible.
once.
I know it's ridiculous.
All right, let me just add this to the end of the episode. Don't try this at home.
Yeah, stop murdering children and babies, everyone.
Hey, if you were going to
Yeah.
leave a note on the bucket, what would it say? Like if you were trying to leave like a funny note, like to fuck with the mom, if this was really just to fuck with her, I mean, just something on the note.
Good news, bad news. We found your daughter.
Do not open till Xmas. It'll be good.
Keep
I mean,
refrigerated.
At least their neighbors. At least their neighbors aren't using a bottomless porta potty. I mean, they've got that going for
Yeah,
them.
good point.
Yeah.
I like DeWired Christian says free kittens would be a fun sign to put on there.
Really is the best one. That's
Pretty
the best
good.
one. Way to go. So that is our Scum stream for this week. Thank you, folks, for tuning in with us. This episode, the audio for it is going to be exclusive to our patrons. Well, maybe it will be. I haven't
whatever.
decided yet.
Whatever.
I just want to make sure that you guys know we're giving you 4 awesome bonus episodes a month. We hope you enjoy
I
it.
just think that when we have a star-studded episode with people like Carl from More of These Podcasts and Bryan Johnson from Tell 'em Steve Dave, that we should
Absolutely.
make this available.
And-
You know, when we get the star power of those two guys
and
on a show together, I feel like we should make that available to the masses, Vinny.
but
You're
every
gonna
time I
piss
say
people off,
that,
Lynn.
every time I say that, you go, "Don't tell them you're on it."
By the way, I'm going to talk about this on Who Are These Podcasts later today. Did you know that there is somebody making Carless Who Are These Podcast episodes, kind of like the Nopey episodes?
So they go
So
through your episode and cut you out.
Yeah, it's called Why Are They Podcasters? And they've literally put together entire episodes without me. So I was checking one out the other day, and it's just fucking Eric Zane talking to no one. And then a clip would happen. I'm like, you can't pull me out of the show. I run the show. So people would agree that it's I'm not great.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate your support. Those of you who are supporting us on Patreon, Supercast, or Backed.by, thank you so much.
Yay, super chats.
I want to thank whoever this Andrew guy is. He says, great show, guys. Smooches, $2. Thank you, Andrew. Very nice.
I hear he likes to listen to our live shows with the boys down at the rest stops.
Look at what Principal Uncertainty is saying here. Join the Patreon every third week. It's Blackface Wednesday.
That one stays behind the paywall.
Yeah, no shit. That one's unlisted.
Hey, this seems like a perfect time for Bryan to promote everything he has going on. Tell him, Steve, Dave, would you kindly?
Tell him stevedave.com. Yeah, you can go there. Everything's on there that you need to see. Patreon.com/tellhimstevedave, because if you don't get enough of us weekly, there's video and audio and merchandise and all kinds of shit. And then Would You Kindly with E-Rock on Compound Media. I got a little surprise for E-Rock today. Little sign. Nice. That's going to make him be quiet when I'm trying to talk.
Is this like a Steven Crowder?
Might be.
Talk Dave or whatever.
I fucking own E-Rock. You better listen.
Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah.
Crowder,
boy.
Crowder had a like a light that would go on that was like the, hey, Dave, don't talk. I'm talking light. But he was trying to like couch. He's like, hey, if I'm going out on the rant, I'm just going to hit this thing to let you know not to talk. And so Dave was talking about it after he stopped working there. And he's like, I know how to broadcast. If you're out of
roll. Is it like the one you have over there for me?
Holy shit. I'm having it installed tomorrow.
That says don't eat, Vinny.
All right. You guys are a couple of jerks. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Bryan Johnson, hope to see you soon, buddy. Come back again anytime.
Yeah, Thank you, boys. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
And we'll be back on Monday. So until then, act right. It's nice to be important.
It's more important to be nice.
Gia.
Yeah.
Gonna dance like the vegetables together?
I need a scum stream with greens tonight. I want a scum stream
dance like the vegetables.
Yeah. Come on. What, not fun for you guys?
I need a scum stream. Woo! I want a scum stream.
Bullshit. What the hell is he supposed to be?